Hi guys, and welcome back to this Inspiring Tales podcast. And today we are with a very, very special guest. And technically, I'm also at their place right now. And we are with the Golden Nugget podcast.
Yo, what's up, guys?
Glad to be here in our own place.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, Inspiring Tales podcast, where we are is at where the Golden Nugget podcast is. So yeah, we always work together lah. Yeah, with the Golden Nugget podcast because they themselves are actually entrepreneurs as well. They have their own businesses out of the Golden Nugget podcast. Okay, maybe you guys can actually introduce yourself, starting from Nazrin.
Okay, since I'm nearest to you, so
Yes.
my name is Nazrin Daud, one of the TGN. TGN is a acronym for the Golden Nuggets podcast. What else you need to introduce?
What do you do?
Oh,
What do you
okay.
do for a living,
what do you
bro?
do for a
Come
living,
on,
bro?
bro.
Right. I run a SEO and web agency, and recently found a software platform called Mulakan. So yeah, if you need some funnel building services, you can contact me.
Awesome. Okay.
Right.
What about Amir?
Hi, guys. I'm Amir. One of the members of the Golden Nuggets podcast also. I run a first aid training company. Yeah, I think that's all.
Yeah.
Crypto.
Okay.
Manchal.
Yeah, NFT company, first aid training company, and also the Golden Nuggets podcast. Yeah.
Okay, what about Hanafi?
Okay, hey guys, my name is Hanafi and I'm also part of the Golden Nuggets podcast. I run a branding and marketing agency, and well, honestly, I've been doing this for the past 17 years.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I think that's basically it.
17 years, huh?
17
You look
years.
young, huh?
Shut up, bro.
Yeah.
You run for 17 years in terms of
Run.
marketing, right? Marketing industry.
Marketing industry, yeah. So I started off as a web developer first. And then of course, you have when you're a freelancer, then you get like all the clients, they will be like, last time got no Facebook, right? So they're like, hey, can you do for me my newsletter? And then when there was Facebook, can you do for me my Facebook, Instagram? Then slowly from being a web developer, become a marketer.
And it was like a whole package that you did.
Eventually, yes. Yeah.
So 17 years in the marketing industry, that's amazing. What about Amir? Your first aid, right? So
Yeah.
what was your background?
So I'm actually a nurse by profession. I've been a nurse for 9 years now.
9 years.
Yes, 9 years.
Oh.
Yeah, and
9
counting.
years.
Have to keep my license because if not, it's expensive my license.
But you look older, bro.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Then Nazrin, you actually mentioned that you are a website SEO and you're a specialist on that right?
Yes.
And also in terms of funneling down.
Correct. I mean, the final designer lah. I mean, I create
Funnel.
funnels for businesses.
Yeah.
And what background? Background. I have been building a website since 2012. Like I think same as Hanafi, developer.
12 years, huh?
Yeah,
So 12 years.
around there lah, 2013, 2012. Right after NS, and then doing it for freelancing and work with various agencies until I opened mine. So initially started as a web design company, and then slowly we emerged services like SEO and funnel services and so on. So I love doing what I do because I meet a lot of people creating things for them. And right now we in TGN ourselves is creating things for people. So that's what I love about what we are doing right now. Yeah.
So that's the thing that is really interesting. Like you guys have your own specialty, right? Like Nazrin we can call you the website guy.
Yeah. You go to website.
Amir is the
Yes, I make sure they are
dressing
healthy.
guy.
Although,
And you also do crypto and NFT as
yes,
well, right? So you're that nurse guy who does NFT and crypto.
yes.
And Hanafi is the marketing guy.
Yeah.
Right. The wholesome marketing person.
Overarching everything else.
Yeah.
Marketing and branding.
Marketing, branding, yeah.
And it goes back to the Golden Nugget podcast, right?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
How do you guys actually met each other, and what sparked the idea to start up the Golden Nugget podcast?
This one, Ami, it would be good to ask Ami.
Okay, Ami.
To start things off. Yeah.
So, how we got to know each other? I know Hanafi since our poly days. My first poly, which was at that point of time, I took an engineering diploma. That was where I met Hanafi at Temasek Poly. So, shout out to everyone at TP. Sorry, Nazrin. Nazrin is always pissed off whenever we talk about TP.
Why?
TP is the best school.
Because I'm from SP.
He's the only one from SB, bro.
Yeah.
Bro,
better-
I'm from ITE, so I cannot.
Never mind.
Cannot go.
It's okay.
Well, I was from ITE, so
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah, ITE before I went to poly. That's where I met him lah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how?
Yeah, so that's where I met Hanafi.
Okay.
I met Nazrin last year.
Just last year.
At a networking event.
Hari
And
Raya,
then, Hari Raya networking event last year. He told me he have this space where it's underutilized.
Okay.
I told him that I've been wanting to start a podcast. The reason why I want to start a podcast is because the very first podcast that I really tuned into was back in 2017. It's this podcast called The Passionate Few. It's this guy who actually is a nobody, but on his third episode, he managed to get an interview with Grant Cardone.
Ooh.
Yes, and to me that's
It's a
inspiring.
local.
No,
podcast?
not
No,
local.
Umar.
Where?
It's a US guy, US or Canadian, I can't remember.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, I get it.
So on his third episode, he interviewed Grant Cardone, and that was the first episode of his that I watched. And to me, it was like interesting because he's a nobody, but he managed to grab hold of a billionaire and also learn from that billionaire on how to actually start and run a business, how to be successful in life. Yeah, so that was really inspiring to me. And then in 2019, when I see, thanks, shout out to Okay Let's Go, they made the podcasting scene in Singapore really huge.
Yeah.
And I think they paved the way, and that was where I got inspired again. But the thing is, I tried working with some other partners, tried to start a podcast, but it didn't work out because I wasn't sure what is my direction, and also I wasn't sure what kind of podcast I want to do. But all this while, I know that I want to emulate what the Passionate Few actually does, which is interviewing business owners. And me having failed businesses before, I know that I need to learn from the successful people, and I know that this is the platform where I can actually learn from them. Yeah, so that is where I decided, like, I want to start this podcast. And when Nazrin told me he got an office that is underutilized, I told him that, hey, I want to start my own podcast. And also, I want to be interviewing business people to actually learn from them, to grow my business, and also learning from them as I grow my business. And then I also spoke to Hanafi last year, beginning of last year, before I even met Nazrin. So that's a funny story.
Okay.
Yeah, initially when I met Hanafi, I wanted him to be part of the podcast, but the thing is, I couldn't word it in a way that it's actually how do I put it?
Yeah, he couldn't relay the message.
I couldn't relay the message properly.
Well, how did you actually relay that message?
But I thought he's supposed to be our guest, right?
No, so that's the later part.
Okay.
So I told him that I want to start a podcast, blah, 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 and then eventually the conversation steered towards
What
him,
kind of gears?
Yeah, him telling me what kind of gears that we need whatsoever. And then that's pretty much my side of the story on how I actually relate to him.
I see.
And then after that, when I came for the first episode, right? Technically, I was invited as a guest after that eventually.
Okay, pause. Sorry. So the reason why the Golden Nuggets podcast is because last year when I met him, 2 years ago when I met him, I was at his place and then we were talking about some shit lah. And then he was telling me like, in the boardroom, the most important thing is getting golden nuggets out of the people who are already successful, because in the boardroom you may talk about all other things, but the key thing is always to pick up the golden nuggets that they drop.
Yeah.
I see.
So that's the reason why, like, at the same time, I want him to be the very first person I want to interview. And also, the Golden Nuggets podcast is actually inspired by what he mentioned to me at that day.
Oh, so the golden nugget itself is a term that you actually use.
Yes, when I talk to him lah.
Oh.
Because actually when you sit with people who have been on the board or who are bosses, right? They will be talking to you about things like their family, oh, I like to go here and there with my family. This is the vacation spot, blah, blah, blah. They
Yeah.
tell you a lot about the world.
Correct.
They will tell you about their hobbies, about going to golf and so on and so forth. But eventually, once in a while, they will drop some golden nuggets. They will tell you like, oh, okay, so when I was growing the company, right, I actually did this. So that is the nugget that you actually have to pick out from the whole conversation.
Correct.
I mean,
Understand.
who cares about the family?
Correct.
Right? I mean, you care, right, as a
Yeah.
person. But how does that benefit me? It doesn't benefit me. But the golden nugget does. So you have to take that out of the whole conversation.
So it's how you actually see the benefits and whatever you can actually learn from that person
Yeah.
to input to whatever you are doing.
Yes.
Right?
You
To
have to
enhance it,
extract the
extract the
Correct.
golden nugget lah,
Yes.
to mine it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you actually discussed with Hanafi, but then you actually met Nazrin last year,
Yes.
and because Nazrin haven't fully utilized the
Yeah. I mean, I've been in this area for a good 3 years. I think including this year's third year lah. And I've been wanting to make this space like a studio
I see.
for YouTube stuff, but until now it's
It's not done.
because you're
Well,
busy with your website.
other
things.
stuff lah, other client work
Yeah.
lah. So of course, inshallah, it will be done soon. And this podcast kind of like supersede that the need to create. So at least I have something to I mean, I have this space to actually utilize for a purpose.
Yeah.
And which is podcasting. And we actually agree to do it like once a week. And we make sure every Wednesday is our podcast day, and we make it like our SOP. Yeah. So
So that's where you guys actually came together to actually discuss on how to open up a podcast. So Hanafi actually helped on the gears and stuff. You, Nazrin actually helped on the
facilitate the space lah.
facility, and Ami actually
Bring things together.
lah.
Yeah. So technically, Ame is the guy who brings in the guests lah.
I see.
Guest management.
Guest management.
Gaslighting.
So if someone in the audience wants to be in the podcast and he happens to be a business owner, he can actually
Yes.
be in the Golden Nugget podcast, right?
Yeah, of course.
So
Have to go through me.
yeah,
Have to go through Ami.
connect with
Overseas
Ame and then
Connect with
Ame.
Ami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's really interesting because I think the number one challenge for building up a podcast, right? Especially when you actually partner up with people, right? The challenge is to accommodate and complement to each other, right? In terms of how the workflow is gonna be, how is the podcast gonna be, how we gonna do those the SOPs, the process, and everything like that, right? So, do you have any golden nuggets to actually give us in a way where if someone wants to open up their podcast, right? Is there any advice in terms of like working together as a team lah, to open up a podcast?
I think it's best to test first.
To test.
Because
correct.
to be honest, I don't know how is the nature between us as podcasters. I think initially in the first few episodes, we kind of like override each other when we speak like that. I mean, we learn from an aspect of conversation, from the aspect of gears, from the aspect of I don't know, podcast etiquette, if there is such thing. So we learn on how to get things done in the most efficient way, from recording to editing, and getting things uploaded. We now have a premium Telegram group, so I mean there's a subscription to use for our uploading. And it's you're asking about partners, right? So we need to test if that partner you can't vibe good enough. Give them about 5 to 8 episodes, and then just wave goodbye.
Actually, you don't need 5 to 8
3,
episodes. No.
Three episodes.
So before this, I tried with 2 groups.
Oh really? I didn't know.
The first group was actually both groups are all ladies. But the thing is, the synergy wasn't there.
I see.
The synergy wasn't
The
there.
chemistry, yeah.
The chemistry wasn't there. The like, because they were not familiar with the podcast scene, so they also don't know how to banter with each other.
Yeah.
They don't know when to, like Nazrin said, the podcast etiquette, when to disrupt the conversation, when to like compliment the conversation, that kind of thing. So that was a challenge that I have with the two groups that I tried with.
I see. Yeah.
I think it's okay to like override, but it depends on your genre.
Yes.
If you are in entertainment, I think it's totally fine, because it's like supposed to be like whoa, rah, and yada yada, a lot of back and forth. But
the podcast like us is more towards giving out value.
correct. So like
correct.
for business related kind of podcasts like this, right? This is where you need to learn, where you can discuss or lay down all the things that you want to lay.
Yeah.
But the other party needs to know to keep quiet and let the person finish. So these are like whatever Nazrin said. It took us a while before, before we actually come up with all of these things.
I see. Because I think the number one misconception people have in terms of building a podcast is that they don't see the podcast as a business of itself. Because I see that podcasting is a whole business.
Correct.
And I think most of them, they would always see other big, huge podcasts, right? Then we'll be like, hey, it'd be awesome if we can actually do our podcast. But there's no actual goal. There's no actual milestones or direction in terms of their podcast. They are just blindly doing it, right? So what's your view on that?
Oh, someone's got to be the asshole. I mean, like, okay, for example, right, when it comes to facility management, right, it's all Nazrin, right? So when we started, he's like, okay, every time we come here, we have to set up and then we have to tear down.
Yeah. So he was the asshole.
Yeah. I mean for that lah, for the person. And then when it comes to SOP, they kind of know I'm the SOP guy. So when it's not according to plan, I can get
So
like
he's the asshole.
Every one of us are
yeah.
assholes.
So you have to be a bit of an asshole for certain things lah. Not everything, right? But you have to let the person take the lead if that person is in the right criteria.
I see. One person. That person.
Yeah, that person lah.
So who's that person in Golden Nugget?
Okay, the overall asshole is
Overall asshole.
So you're the leader of the Golden Nugget pack, like, in a way.
Yeah.
Right. That actually piece everything together, right?
Yeah. I mean, we are equal partners.
Yeah.
No, I think at the end we discussed, and Amir made the final decision to decide on things. So
it's all about the vibe. Back to what Nazrin said. It's all about the vibe.
Yeah. So I think the reason why our vibe is there is because we are all Arsenal fans.
Oh, yeah.
Even the person interviewing us.
I'm an Arsenal fan. But not as a hard fan as them lah. Like Nazrin even went to Emirates already.
Yeah, I'm super hard with Arsenal. I mean, I don't know that this Arsenal synergy makes us stronger. Because talking about just podcast is boring. Somehow our genre is business, right? So there's so much that we can talk about it. So when we talk about Arsenal, we can talk until cow come home. Really, like especially this coming new season is coming up, all the transfer news and stuff like that. Right? So it gets hot, and then we discuss.
We also have our own Arsenal WhatsApp group.
Yeah, of course. Are you in it?
Yeah.
I think you have like 13 people now, right? Inside something like that.
But not sure. But you didn't not active. Inside,
No, not active.
Local ni.
Yeah. So you guys are the one updating me about all the
transfer news.
Transfer news. Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yep. So that's about it, like.
Yeah, because for Inspiring Tales podcast, right, we wanna delve in depth into business. So because you guys have different business, maybe we can actually talk about your each and every business in another podcast, right? Episode in Inspiring Tales. But for today, I want to focus more in terms of business in podcast.
Okay.
Podcasting business, right? In terms of the podcast business, right? If someone were to actually, let's say I'm someone who is in a full-time job, let's say, and I have an idea to open up a podcast. right? Talking about a certain niche, or it depends lah on the podcast, right? How can I actually start doing a podcast? And in terms of building it as a podcast business itself, like my end goal is to actually monetize from it. What would your advice be for those who wants to start?
Okay, so the first thing is you need to have a clear direction of the podcast, and you need to have a clear why you are doing the podcast. Like for me, I think I mentioned earlier, the podcast is for me to actually use it as a platform to connect with people so that I can learn from them how to make my own business successful.
I see.
So that is my why.
Yeah.
And of course, the additional why is with this same platform, I can also help others who are going through my journey in terms of starting out a business to actually learn from it. Yeah, so that is the accidental why. And the reason why it's important to focus on that why is because in the event you are not earning anything, because the podcasting scene, especially if you are new, especially if you are never a content creator, it will be draining because you need to do like consistent episodes week in, week out to make sure that you are at least being seen by the general audience lah.
Yep.
So if let's say you do not have a clear why and you do not have a strong why where you know that whether I get paid or not, I will still do this, then it's very difficult to have a sustaining podcast. Yeah, so
it's not a sustainable way to look at opening a podcast, because eventually it'll be a drag lah.
yes,
Right.
correct. Because it is very tiring.
Yeah.
Like you need to, there's a lot of background work that actually the people don't see.
Yeah.
Yep.
What
Yeah.
are the kind of background work that they need to see
Like
and do?
Like even the simplest thing, and I think Hanafi actually faced this in his previous agency. Even the simplest thing like
Set up.
getting the guests to come in, that itself is work because you need to be able to manage different people's calendar to make sure that everything suits them and also suits you. Yeah, so that's like the most basic thing. And then like whether you have a guest or not, whether you can come up with your own content without a guest, that is also another thing. Because for entertainment podcasts, it's actually much easier to do that. But for our genre, it's a little bit difficult because our genre is we are really leveraging on those who are already successful in business. Yeah. So that is the background things that that is done lah. Then other than that is the editing and also coming out with the SOP. I think Hanafi has been a great help in coming out with a proper SOP for the team. Even publishing, like Nazrin is also Nazrin is helping us with the publishing. Even the publishing, it takes a lot of effort because you need to know when to post, what to post,
Captions.
captions, the copyright, the copywriting behind it, and all other aspects of the podcast. So it's actually a lot of a background work that people don't actually see.
I see.
I mean, some say that if you can't sustain for a good 100 episode, that means you can't tahan the effort required for podcasting.
I think they say the first 20, right?
Is it first 20?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
20 is the first milestone. A lot of people
Yeah.
fall out before the first 20 episode.
Oh, I see. So they just need to tahan until that 20th episode and see how it goes.
Yeah.
The idea is not tahan. It's just to make sure you can,
Right through.
Yeah, right through
Right
and,
through the
and
episode,
be okay with this in the long run, because you know you're not in it for short term.
Yes.
It's a long term.
I guess in a way you can start deciding whether you want to continue doing podcasts or not after the 20 episodes.
Yeah.
Right? Is that
Yeah.
that's what you're trying to say?
Yeah, because beautiful things happen. I think after we've reached, I think the first season, I think the second season this year, we get paid. We get monetized with sponsorship. We get invited to events like Mak Besar.
Yeah.
And then there's more. Paid
More coming up.
projects that coming in. So we know that whatever that we do is monetizable because, like Amir said, it's knowing your why. And we start with why, so we know we have the direction to make sure this is something that we can live for. it's not for fun.
Mm.
So we ourselves has our own business, so we treat this as a business, and that will definitely be something which anyone who wants to do is can adopt the same. Although they are of different genre, but the fundamentals are the same.
Oh, and also sales.
Also,
I think a lot of people, when they see podcasters, they don't understand that we also need to do sales to make sure that we can monetize from the platform.
Yeah.
And sales can be a long process because, especially when you're starting out, the sales cycle can be long. Yeah.
Okay, so you brought up a really interesting part where doing a entertainment podcast and also a value podcast like us, right, is totally different,
Yeah.
right? Also, when it comes to sales, like you mentioned, it has to benefit the person you are doing the sales to, right?
Yes.
That those people who actually benefit Golden Nugget podcast are
What do you mean?
the one that, okay, let's say
It's
if
a
you
question.
actually, it's a question. If someone actually wants to go to the Golden Nugget podcast, right? So who are the target audience that you guys, the base audience that the Golden Nugget podcast has,
Okay.
right? It has to
So-
complement and help
correct.
the ones that you are actually doing that sale to,
Yes.
right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you can actually share with me who are the listeners of the Golden Nuggets podcast and who actually should listen to the Golden Nugget podcast.
Okay, so the audience that we have actually gathered also people who are kind of similar like us. Basically, people who want to get out of a rat race, want to start their own business and don't know where to actually go.
I see.
Because starting a business can be daunting, especially if you have zero experience, you have zero connections, you won't know where to start. You will think like I need a logo, I need to register in Accra. But even registering in Accra, you need to know what kind of different businesses that you are actually incorporating. So these are the things that the value that we actually bring lah. But the main audience that we actually have are people who basically want to get out of the rat race.
I see.
And generally, the people who want to get out of the rat race are people who are already jaded with their job, and that means they have maybe going through or about to go through midlife crisis. So that itself will have a specific age demographic.
Yep.
So that's the audience that we actually have. And at the same time, these are also the people who may have already peaked at their career, but they just want something different.
Yeah.
That could be also like the other demographic which they are okay with their jobs. They are satisfied.
Okay.
But they just feel like it's not fulfilling. Or they have an idea that they want to do that for
They
the
want to
longest
start
time.
up a side hustle.
Yeah.
Yes.
So technically those are the demographic of the podcast lah.
So it's similar as Inspiring Tales lah. So it's aspiring entrepreneurs who want to start something of their own while they are still in a full-time job, and also a business owners who wants to scale their business.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like for example, from 6 figure to 7 figure, 7 figure to 8 figure. How you can actually get those golden nuggets from the
Those who have already done it.
from the ones that you actually interviewed. How they can actually bring this the advice from them
Yes.
to actually input to their business itself.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting, and I think I have one question to ask. In terms of before I ask, how many episodes have you guys done since last year?
Oh, Nazrin, Mr. Uploader.
The last one, 170
Almost
plus.
200 lah.
Yeah.
Oh, serious?
But then every episode we publish is
3
3
parts.
parts. So,
So technically divide by
divide by
3.
if we divide by 3, that would be
60,
about 60 episodes.
60 episodes. Okay.
Full
Out of
episodes.
all
Full
these
episode. Yeah.
60 episodes, right? What's the most what's the heaviest golden nugget, the biggest golden nugget that you have ever received from all from these 60 episodes?
I need time.
I can think of one. It's one of our recent guests. His name is Rashvin. Shout out to Rashvin.
Yeah,
He's
I was
actually
just about to say.
his office is nearby. He actually talked about the 4 Fs.
What is that?
The 4 Fs is
Finance, fitness,
faith, and family.
family. Yeah.
I see.
You need to have all these 4 things that is like well balanced, because if one of it falter, basically your whole life can falter.
Technically, it's like a table.
Mm.
You
Yeah,
need
yeah,
a 4-leg table. Without one leg, it's just gonna topple over.
Yeah.
It's like the business pillars also lah.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
You need in business you need accounting, marketing, inventory,
Yes.
and what else?
Operations.
Operations.
Yeah.
Those are pillars that people actually miss out. Like
Yes.
even one pillar is actually not stable,
Mhm.
it would actually affect the whole building.
Business. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, I also agree with like Amir. I like that as a golden nugget
Yeah.
because I met up with more people, and then eventually people actually added on to that. There's like a few more Fs, one more F lah, which was actually fun. Because if you don't have fun, you're just gonna get jaded. All the 4 is like totally useless.
And you get burnt out lah.
Yes, you get burnt out. So unless the business itself is fun for you.
Yeah.
I see, understand. So like doing this podcast, is it fun for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is.
I think humans generally need to make connections with each other, right?
Mm.
So this is a way for us to connect with more people. So that's why it's always it's something that we don't get jaded with.
Yeah.
Where we understand and we actually hear from our other fellow podcasters that who are especially doing mainly entertainment, and they are just a group discussing with each other and they rarely bring in guests. So we've heard from our fellow podcasters who are having that concept or that genre already feel jaded early on. Yeah. So I think our genre quite fun lah. For us lah, at least.
Yeah, for us lah. And I can totally understand because like I do social media marketing, right?
Yeah.
I'm honestly tired of looking at TikTok and Instagram reels one after another. Just
It's the
getting
fatigue,
you get like content fatigue.
Yeah.
So essentially, these people who are doing entertainment podcasts, right? They feel the same because they have to make sure they are updated.
Up to date.
Yeah. Based on the tabloid, based on the news, the media, what's news, what's latest, this crash happened, this affair happened, this thing happened in the state that requires it to be addressed in their podcast because those are the content for themselves.
Yeah.
Right? But eventually over time when you keep doing it, you're definitely going to get jaded.
Riding on the trends lah.
Yeah,
Riding on the trends.
Yeah.
But so in like podcasts like us, we don't really have to do that.
Yeah.
Like, but we could
We
actually
can.
potentially do that.
Yes.
But because the thing is, we are focused more on the value,
Yes.
right? Value. Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like we are focused more, not just on the value, on the person bringing the value.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where the guest in. But if you talk about playing with trends in business podcasting, there are so many new things every day.
Yeah.
If you actually want to go through that route,
Yep.
right? Like AI, what's the latest thing?
Yes.
WWDC, Apple, iOS 18.
Yeah.
What are some of the coolest features? We can use that and bring it to the business topic and then talk about it.
Yeah.
But we don't because we are trying to focus more on the person bringing in the value for you so that you can actually be like the person.
Yeah.
Like the 6-figure person, who's going through 7. So you might be somebody who's making 5 figures. Now how you're thinking like, how do I get there?
Yeah.
This guy got there. He's in the same industry as me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
So you can actually reach out to that fella and maybe ask him to be a mentor. Yeah.
So I think for every business, right, including podcast business as well, there's a problem that we are actually solving, right? What is that problem that the Golden Nuggets is actually trying to solve? What are you guys planning to do?
Right.
Yeah.
Problems. So basically, one of the main aspect of our podcast is to get reach. Okay, get reach to the masses, to our followers, to the non-followers.
Yep.
Based on our concept and our genre. and of course we want to use this as a platform to explore many things, to bring sponsorships, to monetize it, because once people follow our our channels, we can help them
Yep.
into getting those awareness, those reach to our listeners, and who knows that they can actually reach out to them to do business with them, because ultimately we are kind of like B2B, because we are helping business owners to get something out from what they share in their stories.
I
Yeah.
see.
So basically, we are. I mean, the platform is that bridge for people who are starting out,
Yeah.
because like I mentioned earlier, when you're starting out, when you don't have any connections, you really don't know what to do,
Yeah.
and you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
important that you find this bridge where you can actually cross over and like perhaps connect with the person who already have gone through that journey.
I
Yeah,
see.
so that is the problem that we are solving, and it is a big problem because every single day new businesses are coming up,
Yeah.
and
Definitely.
all these new businesses, I'm very sure they are going through that journey where they don't know what they don't know. They need to learn more, and they need to find people who have already done it so that they can emulate that success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also like in average around for startups, they survive only up till around 2 to 3 years before they actually fail
Yeah.
and they close down the whole business, right?
Yeah.
And they don't have any guide or mentor, a guide, or people who are doing a similar thing like them, the other startups also,
Yep.
and they feel lost. They got no one to actually go to, and they end up just closing down the business, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you are creating that bridge and that platform for
Yes.
these kind of people who are gonna open up their business and also are currently in a business, right?
Yeah.
And they don't have anyone to actually go towards to,
Yep.
right? So what's the plan for this? You have like any plans to actually create a certain platform for them?
Yeah. So the one that we are coming up very soon for the second half of this year is this segment called the Podium. So the Podium is basically the segment where we are allowing startups, solopreneurs, those financial advisors or real estate agents who are just starting out, and they need a platform to actually, other than featuring themselves, other than having a content that is created for them, they need a platform where they can actually be out there and reach out to the, first of all, the people that they want to connect to emulate that journey, and secondly, to reach out to a wide net of possible audience and also possible potential clients that they actually will eventually be able to leverage on.
I see.
Yeah, so that is the purpose of the Podium that we are coming up basically next month onwards.
I see. So
Yeah.
so to be in terms of the Podium itself, right? What I feel that there are other kind of platforms out there, right, in Singapore who is actually doing something similar to this, right? To be in a particular group that they will actually do their own support lah, in terms of the business owners, like they can actually network, they can actually do this a similar thing. How do you think Golden Nugget is different from the rest of the groups?
I think what we are building is also a community, community-based business. Because if we build a business around a community, it is much easier for us to get connected. So we want this to be a start of the Podium to be a start of building a community that is strong enough to help each other. It's like how we can eventually collaborate between businesses and succeed together. You don't succeed alone. So with this community, we help each other through various mediums. Because I have many plans in mind. Like one of them is actually, if I were to share with the Inspiring Tales audience, like maybe in the future we're gonna do something got to do with like a TG and walk. That means you do networking while walking. So you're combining fitness, or I would say wellness, with networking, and at the same time dealing with some business along the way. So these are the other things we can build around communities.
I see.
And it is something bigger. So we are infusing many elements of interacting, not just limited to podcasting, but beyond that. So with that community, it's going to be evolved to something huge, probably to make the brand more prominent. Because the Golden Nuggets itself, it can be, I don't know, I think it's already trademark. I don't know, we cannot trademark the name because it's quite famous. I mean, known to be elsewhere in the world. So with the additional podcast at the end, that itself, it's a brand.
So I think you bring up a very interesting point in terms of building up a community. Talking about community and also branding and branding the community also, maybe I can actually ask Hanafi, the marketing guy in the Golden Nugget podcast.
Okay.
What's the importance of building a community in a business?
So when you build a community, these are the people who actually will support you through and through. And not just that, the community will be able to survive by itself.
Yeah.
Right. So we look beyond the brand itself, lah. At the end of the day, what do you want out of the community? Right. For us, for me, lah, personally, at least, I feel like I want to see a lot more different business owners.
Okay.
Right. Not that we don't want to support the big brands, but if you could support our own community, that would be even better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And another thing that we want to perhaps inculcate into the culture of this community that we are building is the efforts to actually help each other for free. So the easiest thing, and this is something that is always how do I put this? This is basically something that is overlooked all the time. Is to help another business, you can just engage with the content that they put out.
Yeah.
And that is something that we want to inculcate and also to nurture within the culture of this community that we are building.
In the Podium.
Yes, in the Podium.
Yeah. So something like liking posts.
Yeah.
Commenting a post.
Yeah.
Following a account or subscribing to a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
It's free, man.
Yeah. So when we have that kind of community and they are supporting each other, so you don't have to worry about your post not getting seen.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna tell the algorithm that, hey, people are seeing the post.
In the
People
first
are
1
liking
hour,
the post.
the engagement is healthy, so let's push more.
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, what I think it's what we are planning to do probably is if we want to give a fair share of everyone inside the community to get the likes, get the engagements.
So like for example, for myself, as you can see, in the saved portion for my own personal profile, I actually have one segment just for these inspiring tales.
Oh, yeah.
So this is how I am supporting Hakim. This is how I'm supporting these inspiring tales by making sure that every content that is put out, I save the video because that is also a way for him to push his numbers.
Yeah, so it helps the algorithm.
So this is taught by Hanafi, of course.
Yeah, so he didn't just like the post. He doesn't just comment. He actually saved it. Yeah, and to actually help push the content even more, right? So what the community can do to also support is by clicking share and click copy link. You don't want to send to your friends, it's totally fine.
Awesome.
You just need to click on copy link. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's an engagement by itself.
Yes.
Yeah. It doesn't matter where you copy it, you paste it at, but as long as you copy it.
Yeah.
So
As a as a marketer to a marketer, right? As a marketer to a marketer, Hanafi.
Yeah.
I think this is a really good way to actually engage with the community, right? And also to actually help out on their social media posts.
Yeah.
But do you think this is a sustainable strategy in the long term?
You want the honest truth?
Yeah, I want the honest truth.
Okay, the honest truth is it's not.
It's not the sustainable
It's
way,
not.
right?
It's not the most sustainable
Yes.
way.
Yeah.
Because at the end of it, after you like, comment, share, it doesn't bring you anything else other than just those numbers.
Yeah.
Right? Eventually, the audience is they're gonna drop off.
Yeah.
So what this tells you is moving forward, you need to up your game.
Yeah.
So the next step is how can you put out better content?
Yeah.
How can this content be more engaging?
Okay, will this be in the podium?
Well,
of course.
yeah, it's definitely. I will definitely, because I do have my own community right
Yeah.
now, and I do share like all the latest Instagram changes and so on.
Yeah.
So technically, if you are joining us in the podium, whatever new changes I have with regards to the social media, I'm gonna put it there. So all of you are updated as well. All the different business owners who care to share, to join us at the podium, you will have the access to all these things.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't started this yet, but I'm really excited with how we will be moving things in the podium itself, because it's about element of helping each other. We need with the algorithm, be it engagement, the likes, the numbers, because all these are the things, that small efforts that help us grow
Yeah,
internally together as a community.
Yeah.
And it's a great boost lah, especially for someone who actually just started, because they may not have their experience in terms of all this digital side of business. It's very you can say it's very foreign for them. Like all this new AI, digital marketing, this and that. It may not be for us because we have been there for years, but for them, they want to start, and let's say they are from healthcare industry. All those while they are in a full-time job in the healthcare industry, they only know about medical stuff. They don't know about digital marketing, AI, and all this. So it's a really great platform, right, to be in the podium. That could actually help them.
So if you get AI to actually craft a piece of copywriting for you, this is what AI will tell you. Supercharge your learning.
Elevate your understanding.
Okay, for someone who actually wants to join Podium, how can they actually do that?
Yeah. So to join Podium, comment down below Podium.
Wow, that's supposed to be me. Comment down Podium in the comment section below, and we'll actually send you a link directly to sign up for the Podium group.
Yep.
Right? Okay. So I think I have a last question, right? What is the upcoming other plans on top of Podium for Golden Nuggets podcast?
Okay, so the Podium is the immediate plans.
Okay.
We actually have a few plans that
What's the long-term one, maybe?
The long-term one, ultimately we want to have this entire platform, like we mentioned before, is for people who are just starting out.
Yeah.
One of the long-term plan is actually to have a platform, perhaps an app or a website, where we can immediately bridge them to the what do they call it? The expert of the industry. Yeah. So that is one of the long-term plan.
I see.
Yeah. So I think there are a lot that we have already brainstormed, but it's just about timing.
Yeah. I mean, moving forward also, if I were to input my expertise into the podcast itself, we can create the TGN podcast website as an editorial piece. That means every episode that we have, we create into bite-sized articles that people can learn from, and then any updates about that particular expert can be a new article which people can explore. It's like if you went to places like entrepreneur.com, what have you, all those places like Forbes, right? They have any pieces about the businesses itself, but all those businesses are like way beyond what we see right now. So there's no editorial piece about business in our level, at least in the local context. So if that can be what TGN podcast is going to be for a start right now, I mean, we can always explore that thing in the future.
But currently, you guys do have your own newsletter, right?
Yeah, we have our newsletter.
So what do your newsletter consist of? Like when they sign up, what do they get?
So our newsletter consists of episode updates.
Okay.
And also sharing about our sponsors.
Okay.
Because we also shout out our sponsors in our newsletters, and also we drop a few nuggets from the episodes that we learn from the
Yeah.
guests that we invite. Yeah.
Just to entice them to actually listen to the full episode.
Mm.
But of course, if you don't have the time, then
Just read lah.
just read the newsletter. Yeah.
So is there anything that they can actually learn from in terms of when they sign up from the newsletter itself?
Learn is depend on how they want to take it lah.
I say
already-
because it's based on the golden nugget that you actually extract out from the one that you actually invite, right? You actually do that.
Yes.
It is in your newsletter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are like summarizing a 2-hour or 1.5 hour episode with them into a short 2 paragraphs.
I see.
Yeah.
And then if you want to hear the whole thing, of course, there's a CTA, call to action button to Spotify and YouTube. So these are the things, small effort, which we want to make sure we have a place for people who probably not into social medias, because social media is also a different thing. But this newsletter is for people who is near and dear with inbox, email inbox.
Yeah. So technically, if you join us in the Podium, not only will you get access to having one episode for yourself, you also get access to the community. And you have a content piece done up for you in the newsletter.
Which is the Podium also.
Yes.
Right?
So yeah, technically, if you sign up for the Podium, because you are in one episode, you will be featured in one newsletter.
Yes.
Moving forward, this newsletter can become even an article like I mentioned. So it can become a content piece online as a blog.
Yeah.
So we are moving things through, not slowly, but gradually. It's there. The idea is there. It's just about executing it. It's one of the hardest things in business to be consistent and executing things.
So when you guys actually angle this way, it seems like it's a no-brainer for someone to actually join your community, the Podium community, right? So don't forget to actually comment down Podium in the comment section below, and we'll actually send you a link directly to the Podium landing page, right?
To sign up.
To inquire, right?
Yeah. You share about the price or
Oh yeah. So
the promo price?
the promo price right now, and it's only for the first 50 people. We already have 10 who already signed up for our early bird what's it called, our early bird package, and our early bird package already full. So we are gathering the first 50 people who wants to be part of this community, and for number 11 to number 50, basically the promo price is $250. To appear on our show, to be featured on our show, it's usually $1,000. But because we know that everybody, a lot of the people who are joining the Podium are startups or small businesses, we are giving this promo price.
Yes.
See.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
75% off if you look at it.
75%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. So will I be part of the Podium? Be in the Podium?
Well, of course.
Yeah, of course.
$200.
$250.
I thought I'll be the VIP in Podium.
You can.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing. Actually, to be honest, I'm itching to actually ask your respective story, because Inspiring Tales, right, when I actually interview people, I would love to know more about your story. So maybe we can actually schedule a time to actually talk about your respective story. Nazrin's story, Amin's story, Hanafi's story, how you guys actually start your respective business as well. I would love to know more if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah, of course.
sure.
I mean, we have shared it in our own podcast, but of course, by all means, you can share it with your audience.
Okay, so is there any other last thing that you actually want to tell the Inspiring Tales audience before we end the podcast?
Sign up to the Podium.
Okay?
Yeah, so stay inspired.
And also do follow, like, share, subscribe to the Golden Nuggets.
Nugget
And I really, really hope you find it of value and benefit.
Yes.
Right. That's going to help you to your business, with your business.
Yep. That being said, thank you so much for being here and sharing a lot of golden nuggets to Inspiring Tales audience, and to me as well. I learned a lot today. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Right.
All right.
Okay. Don't
Thanks, man.
forget to like, subscribe to Inspiring Tales podcast. This is actually the third third episode podcast, and they also actually guide me through in terms of this podcasting, and I'd like to thank the Golden Nugget podcast for guiding me.
And thank you for allowing us to be on your platform.
Also, of course, it's about the community helping each other, right?
Yeah.
So you have to not just say it; you gotta do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Oh, one piece of advice before we go.
One piece of advice. Okay, one piece of advice.
Okay. Right, before you all go off. Because this is something that I've experienced last year. I've been learning. I read over 10 different books throughout the whole year, even though I was running my own business. But I realized one thing. Knowledge without taking into action is useless.
Yes.
Definitely.
Knowledge, actionable knowledge is power.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much for the
No problem. Most welcome.
quote.
Advice.
Yeah, because you've got to be a doer.
Yeah.
You got to be practical. There's so many plans, strategies that you can think of, but if you don't execute it, what's the point?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're gonna drag it along the way.
Yeah.
So thank you so much once again, and don't forget to click cakap lagi. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.